For many Bremerton residents, running or walking the bridges has been a favorite pastime for years. But this nearly 3-mile trail offers more than scenic beauty and an opportunity for exercise. In fact, there's an abundance of history, culture, and hidden treasures waiting to be discovered along the way. Join me to discover what's waiting for you along the Bridge to Bridge Urban Trail and how it's become such a popular destination for locals and tourists alike. Joining me today is Josh Farley, a local celebrity of sorts and former reporter for the Kitsap Sun. Josh has spent over a decade promoting and raising awareness of the trail. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
So, Josh, you first covered the Bridges for the Sun. At what point did it become more than just another story for you?
I'm kind of a storyteller at heart, Katie, and I started to see all of these different stories appear that popped up around this loop that people use to walk and run on, and none of them had any markers or any acknowledgments. I thought I could write stories in the paper, but I could also bring them alive through community events and other ways of telling it, like creating a map. And that's exactly what I did, and we held the first Bridging Bremerton in 2018.
And you started working with other groups, so like Leadership Kitsap, I know, and local artists to really raise this awareness. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. One of the best examples of that is the living, breathing Minette art wall that today is amazing. You can go there almost every day and there's painting going on. And it was so fun to collaborate with the artists to see that and actually make it a spot on our map. But there's also so much history, so much early 20th century history in Bremerton, late 19th century even, as well as World War II artifacts. And where else can you go and get such sweeping views of the Olympic Mountains, Mount Rainier, and of course the beloved Puget Sound?
And you just completed your 5th Bridging Bremerton event, so tell me a little bit more about that event.
Sure. We try to change it up every year. We try to have some fun, and anybody can do it. I call it a festival on foot. We usually start at Evergreen Park, but sometimes we change that up. We've had scavenger hunts where kids learn the history from people at every spot along the approximately 2.8-mile loop. We've even had a pub crawl later in the evening in Minette to talk about crazy history stories from Bremerton's past.
And it's such a great, fun event. So will it be coming back next year?
You betcha. We have a new plan for next year to bring it back for its 6th year.
Before we go on, Josh, I want to talk a little bit more about the trail itself. So we're here at Whitey Domstad Park, of course, one of the sites along the trail. So can you tell me a little bit more about what people can expect along the trail? What will they see?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're right here at Whitey Domstad Park, as you mentioned. He was mayor during the presidency of JFK. He was a prizefighter boxer that became mayor, and this little square is dedicated to him. Up the street, you can find the Minette art wall that we talked about before. Keep going down Wheaton Way, and you'll find yourself at the Babel, which was built during World War II, was a movie theater that became a bowling alley. You'll go up the stairs onto the Warren Avenue Bridge, which was built in 1958, originally tolled at 10 cents. If you take a left turn off of the bridge there, you'll find a barrage balloon anchor. These were these huge anchors that hoisted up on steel cables a hydrogen-filled balloon. So anybody during World War II that was in a plane trying to attack the shipyards, so critical during World War II, they would get snagged in those cables.
Was there a balloon on each side or just on one side of the bridge?
There were balloons all over Bremerton because they surrounded the shipyard to keep something of a shield, a defense system.
So is this the only one that's left then, the one that you see?
There's actually a few of them around.
Oh, really? Okay.
But
on the trail, this is the one.
Very few. And there are 2 along the trail, actually. There's also one in Madrona trails. We have one of the densest stands of Madrona trees, Arbutus menziesii. And during an ivy clearing session that we did a couple of years ago, we happened to find another barrage balloon anchor in there. So it's very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. If you continue towards Evergreen Rotary Park, of course, that's Bremerton's flagship park, you'll also find a couple of guns off of a ship called the USS West Virginia. West Virginia happened to have been sunk at Pearl Harbor, yes, December 7th, 1941, brought here, hoisted back up, put back into service, and it's the only vessel that was both sunk at Pearl Harbor as well as was present in Tokyo Bay for the signing of the Japanese surrender that ended World War II. It was decommissioned. You can find the guns there, right there, and it actually is present on a World War I memorial that has its own stories. Outside of that, you also have a face that is carved into some concrete. A man, an artist in 1969, came down to Evergreen Rotary Park, saw that they were dumping concrete because unfortunately they did those kinds of things back then, and he said, well, I'm going to fix this. The face exists to this day.
I have to say that was when I walked the trail with you, one of the most unique things to find on the trail. And now every time I go to the park, I have to go search for the face.
Oh, I love it.
Because nobody knows about it. I mean, it's kind of this fun little hidden gem. So thank you for sharing that piece of it.
Of course, of course. If you continue on past Smith Cove, you will find yourself at the 9/11 Memorial, which in Kitsap County, and really one of the few nationwide places that you can find two beams from the World Trade Center that was fallen on that day on 9/11, 2001. You can also find sand from where Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania, as well as limestone from the Pentagon where the plane crashed there. So it's a really, really cool, multifaceted memorial that a lot of people still don't know about today.
Yeah, it's a really meaningful memorial. It's wonderful that we have it right here in the heart of Bremerton.
Absolutely, absolutely. You'll continue as you make your way to the Minette Bridge, and you traverse some of the oldest homes in all of Bremerton before you get on the Minette Bridge, which was built in 1930 the first time, and then rebuilt in 2011. And you might not know this, Katie, but the only thing left from the 1930 bridge that exists in Bremerton now is right behind us. It is this fence that goes along here. The original bridge is right behind us here.
And both bridges were toll bridges.
In fact, the Minette Bridge originally was tolled, and then they tolled it again when they built the Warren Avenue Bridge because they didn't want the people to be cheating, right?
Get money both ways. So do you have a personal favorite spot?
Personally, I love the promenade that was created with the 2011 Minette Bridge here because it affords such a beautiful view of our city. And indeed, it's sort of the centerpiece of this spoke wheel of the Bridge to Bridge Trail that connects so many parts of Bremerton, Olympic College, the Old Hospital District, Minette, and downtown, and more. But for me, connecting all of those things in a public space is what it's all about. Truly, any great city that you go to, you find magnificent public spaces. I'm not just talking about parks or maybe a public square. I'm talking about connection points where people can go and have heart-to-hearts, where people can congregate together. It's what living in cities is all about, right?
Well, and it's a really great heart of Bremerton, and it's a wonderful way, like you mentioned, to really connect our communities and connect to our past and our history. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
There is so much more to the Bridge to Bridge Trail than we can possibly cover today. You can learn more about the trail and get your own map by going to visitkitsap.com/bridge to bridge. You can also find more information about Josh's story walks at facebook.com/bridging Bremerton. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Commissioner's Corner. How about it, Josh?
Let's go walk.
Let's go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.